what is up? You have found We Like the Blazers. I am Brandon Mullen, and over there, it is in fact Connor Bergen. Connor, what's up, man?
Hey, Brandon. Good to be back after our long holiday break.
Our long holiday break indeed. Connor, the last time that we recorded was December 12th. Today is January 31st. Holidays, man.
We like to take a lot of time for Christmas, for all the New Year's.
In this household, the Christmas tree doesn't go out the door until March. So listen, we're still in the thick of Christmas season. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, we did. I like Christmas trees. We're not religious, but we like Christmas, and so sue us. But it did take a while for the tree to make its way, sadly, to the curb.
I get that.
Yeah, and it's always sad. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just the records. You'll notice they're no longer Christmas, and I had the Elvis Christmas, I had the Grinch Christmas up there, but I think those came down like January 15th. I was like, okay, it's.
I know that the Grinch is Christmas, but I also feel like the Grinch can be like a year-round thing. So go ahead and keep the Grinch up there if you want.
Shout out Lamar Hurd.
Shout out to Lamar Hurd. Oh my gosh. Him coming on the show and talking about that was just one of the funnest things ever. But the Blazers, Connor, it's funny because they've lost 4 in a row, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But since we last recorded, they are in fact 14-10 since the middle of December. Connor, remember at that point, the Blazers had lost 6 of 7, and the title of that podcast was something to the effect of, "Will the Blazers ever win again?" I say all of this just to put into perspective. It's an 82-game season. They're obviously going through a tough stretch now. Probably the most unsettling thing, at least to my eye, is just that Deni Avdija does not look quite right, and he really just needs to just stay out of the game and rest up. But let's talk about a little bit of where the Blazers are now and this most recent skid. They're 23-26. I think they're firmly where they need to be at this point in the season, more or less. Mm-hmm. There's maybe been some disappointment dashed in there in the last week and a half. But Connor, what is your take on the state of the Blazers?
I mean, not only are they 14-10 since the last time we talked, they were 9-2 to start January, like the hottest team in the NBA. They seemed like they had kind of finally turned a corner and figured it out with all the new guys who had to get acclimated, and like two-way guys, and City Sissoko and Caleb Love, and like Deni Avdija, of course, was playing like a madman. And they just like figured it out. I was impressed every night at the Moda Center. They beat the Rockets twice. So I feel like that was the turning point on the season, and it kind of stabilized from there. Like you said, like even with they've lost now 4 in a row, they're still like firmly in the Western Conference play-in picture, kind of like where they've been. And
they still firmly have one of the league's easiest schedules from now until the end of the season still. So
I think, and Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant have returned. Like I think how well they were playing, I was starting to think they could maybe get to like the 6th seed. Deni Avdija's injury, I think, is the main issue right now of why they're not still playing at such a high level.
And he truly just, I want to make this point very clear. He just needs to sit. You need to just, especially, the All-Star game is in a couple of weeks. We're hoping, thinking, expecting, that he's going to be on one of those All-Star teams, and I don't see any benefit whatsoever in him trying to tough it out. And he's given quotes, and maybe you've been the receiver of some of those quotes as a reporter in the locker room about like, if I can walk, I'm going to be playing. And it's like, bro, it's not 1986. You don't need to do that. You shouldn't do that. And also, Connor, for us olds, you're just a young little whippersnapper. You're,
I was going to say, I thought you were including me in that. So please no.
No. I'm old. You're not. When you start messing with your back, and Deni Avdija not old as well, but like you don't mess with the back. The back is important. You need the back. We love the back. Don't mess with the back. Just
sounds like a Seinfeld bit.
Truly, I do want to make like a lumbar yard reference, but like nobody would get that. But just seriously though, stop playing. Is there any? Do you agree? I don't understand. It just seems like he just wants to play just to prove that he can. I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't think it's just – I do believe him that he's about winning, and I think he's like, it's not just proving that he can play, but it's like we were rolling. I want to keep this going. Let's keep winning. I think
the
that's
team's
genuine.
Best player.
Yeah, so he wants to kind of put it on his shoulders. But yeah, the last night's game was kind of eye opening. Like he looked. So there was a few times it looked like he could barely make it up the floor on like offense and defense, and he was grimacing. He was like kind of like hobbling. He scored.
So don't play.
Yeah,
Stop.
and then he like
playing.
he like hugged the stanchion on one play, and it was almost like the Jimmy Butler know, the meme. And I respect the hell out of him for like trying to tough it out. And I was in the locker room when he made that quote that first night where he was like, he was like, if I can walk, I can play. And like, it was kind of like badass, but also it was like, dude, he looked just a bad sight that night. Health-wise. He couldn't put on his socks.
Wow. And truly terrifying stuff. And listen, like, we talk about, some people talk about compensatory injuries, the injuries that you sustain trying to compensate for another injury that you're suffering from. And again, Connor, I ain't a doctor. The back connects everything to everything else. And if you're not mobile and you're not able to twist and move around, and it just, to me, from the initial injury, it felt like it seemed from his comments that he wanted to come back and, prove his tough guy bona fides. I have a message directly to Deni Avdija. Deni, you are a tough man. You're a big, strong man. Got it. Now just sit. I don't need to see him play anymore until he's healthy. And by the way, All-Star game is in 2 weeks. Wouldn't it be great, Deni Avdija, looking at you, wouldn't it be great to be fully healthy for that game? Your first, hopefully, of many All-Star games. Would be really awesome to see you represent Portland, and to look like yourself would be fantastic.
Yeah, or at least just like be able to go and check in. It would be a bummer if they have to get like an injury replacement for him. That would take a lot of the thunder, I feel like, away from the selection. And his style is so smash mouth that like, he needs to be at a higher percentage of health to be.
It's not like he can just kind of float over there.
Yeah,
it's not like he's like a big dude who can just kind of park himself like he's.
Yeah, shoot a bunch of threes. No, like he needs to go at people. There was a play that not only like the hobbling a little bit last night and clearly the grimacing, but there was a play where he had Josh Hart on his hip, and all season I've seen Deni get that advantage and just plow right ahead to an and one or get free throws, and like he didn't even really put the accelerators on. He just kind of kept dribbling slowly. It really stood out to me, and I think the Blazers are in. Like they figured it out. I genuinely am impressed with the stretch, and it's like, okay, you kind of rided the season around from disaster. You're in the play-in. I don't think 2 weeks or a week of trying to prioritize rest for Deni is going to undo what all that they just did.
And also like just noting, they've lost 4 in a row, but 3 of those teams are good teams. 3 of those games were on the road. Like, the Wizards one was pretty pathetic in that, but listen,
it happens.
It happens. It's the NBA, and teams are good, and it turns out these are some of the best players in the world. Whoa! So it happens. I mean, do you, just to put a bow maybe on this conversation, are you feeling any certain type of way? It sounds like the answer is no. That's like, hey, this is part of the season.
No, not at all. I mean, so out of all the stuff they've already overcome in November and December, I'm kind of like, this is small.
Same.
Small stuff.
I agree, and I just, again, would like to see Deni Avdija just rest for a while. The NBA All-Star Game is on the 15th of February, which means they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games between now and then. a smattering of good teams, a couple of not so great teams. I just don't think you should be tallying wins and losses right now when your best player has now, for the third time, re-aggravated the same injury. Just stop playing for a while, please. And we weren't going to do this, but let's do this. I'm just going to pivot this directly into conversation about the trade deadline, which is coming up, and will have passed, I think, by the next time we record or close to it. And at the end of the show, I want to talk about, you had a really cool feature on Blazers Edge about City Sissoko. We want to talk about that. But first, the trade deadline, Connor, there has been
juicy
chatter.
rumors. The juicy rumors.
There's been
Fleetwood
chatter.
Fleetwood Mac is going all around town.
Oh, so much subtext there, and people having sex with each other. Connor, that's not what this is about. There have been rumors in the NBA blogosphere about a certain player who's played with another certain Blazers player in a previous stop. Oh, good point. That player is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's very good. He's going to be owed a lot of money in his next extension. He wants out of Milwaukee. Was he? Wasn't he? The cards, it looked like you could kind of read the stars saying he was probably going to leave at some point, and apparently now he's like, yeah, I'm done with Milwaukee. I think for Giannis, if he wants to go somewhere else, it would probably be better for him to go this year because the Bucks ain't doing anything this year. By the way, just a quick sidebar. I think we can say RIP to Doc Rivers' coaching career. I think this is truly the end.
All of it. Not even
truly the end.
Yeah,
truly. So, but Giannis's name has come up, and I have so many opinions about this, but without divulging any of them, I just want to kick it to you. What do you think about these? And again, they're like, I think we saw something from Mark Stein that said the Blazers were sniffing around, and why wouldn't they? Especially
got reported today.
Especially, and I said I wasn't going to talk too much, but really quick, especially because the Blazers kind of own the Bucks' draft.
They're very relevant. They're very relevant in this whole situation. Which is weird because the Blazers are normally not relevant in these conversations.
How dare you, sir? What?
It is what it is.
Oh my gosh!
They weren't mentioned during the LeBron sweepstakes. I feel like, or the
you just had a hot mic moment saying your Portland Trailblazers were not relevant, Connor.
Hedo Turkoglu.
Have you forgotten your audience?
Giannis.
Have you forgotten what the name of the podcast is? But you're right. Yes, it seems. I don't want to say likely, but more likely than with virtually any other superstar trade that because the Blazers own a chunk of the Bucks' future draft, that they may figure either as a primary trade partner, as I want to discuss, or as a facilitating piece in a 3 or 4 team deal. But Connor, I don't want to divulge too much my own opinion first. What do you think about these very, very succulent Giannis rumors?
I mean, hard not to be tantalized, right? it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Succulent rumor.
I am of the mind of don't trade Deni, and then that's the non-negotiable, and then I kind of see what it would take. I'm not outright against it. It could be short-sighted. Giannis, I think he's 32. He's had some injury issues. You would have to mortgage a lot of those awesome future assets. You would probably have to give up a few key young players. So you would kind of pinch your window right now, which, that's risky and scary, but it would probably give the Blazers their best shot at a title since, 2000? If they had Giannis, you would think.
To your point, but also it depends on who they send out.
And the Bucks did get Giannis and Dame, and it obviously didn't work.
Okay, let's approach it from that direction really quick. It feels likely to me that when Damian Lillard returns as will be 37-year-old at that point, coming off an Achilles, that he will know that he's entering a different part of his career. And so I think that if you just think about it from a perspective of Giannis really, really wants to have the ball in his hands, it feels like whether Giannis is there or not, that Dame is going to have to figure out how I'm maybe not like the every down option that I was last time I was in Portland. I don't think that's unreasonable, right? So when you think about it, his role in relation to Giannis would be different almost certainly, and that's what makes me feel better about that part.
That's true. And excuse me. And I mean, it's funny. We're like, I literally saw a tweet that were like, Blazers fans debating about, well, how would Giannis fit with Deni is like peak Blazers like fan syndrome.
Who cares?
Yeah, no, and I was about to say like, well, they both like having the ball in their hands and driving downhill. So how would you make that work? I'm like, keep Tumani, keep Deni. But you'd probably have to give up like Klingon. It would be sad. It would be sad to see some of these young guys. So,
yeah, and I want to be fair to the Milwaukee Bucks, who obviously they're not gonna agree to a package that doesn't make sense for them, and nor should they. On the other hand, again, the Blazers do control 3 years of the Bucks' future draft, and when you are the Bucks and you're trading Giannis, you are probably trying to be bad in order to, rebuild your team for the future. So I do think that Portland has like the teensiest bit of leverage, right? The teensiest bit of leverage that they wouldn't otherwise have. So what would so keeping in mind that we don't want to create fake trades that completely screw over Milwaukee, what kind of a Blazers roster seems realistic after a trade like that would make you feel like, yes, that was worth mortgaging your future for?
That's the thing too.
Who would the names be? So you've already said no Deni Avdija in that trade. You've said no Toumani Camara in that trade.
Which that might be tough. I think you'd probably have to give up Shaden. I would imagine they'd want Klingon, and then you make the salaries match. I mean, do you need to include your Holiday for like a salary thing? I'm not the biggest cap whiz guy, to be completely honest, but I would imagine you'd have to give up Shaden. If Scoot was like healthy this year, I would think it would kind of be between him and Shaden or both. I don't know if Scoot is valued. Like, I don't know what his value is right now after not playing for a whole season or half season.
Can we make a quick debate really quick?
Yeah.
Let's say that you had to keep either Sharp or Toumani.
Oh God.
Right? I just want to put you on the spot. If you're Joey C, if you're Joe Cronin, you're listening to the show, because of course you do. Which of the two are you keeping in this now Giannis-centered, relatively short-windowed team, right? Like you probably have generously 4 years, 3 years.
I mean, with that scoring power and the pieces around it all, I would probably want Toumani. I think he would fit into a role a lot better. And it's also like a culture thing. And I really enjoy the culture that Deni and Toumani, I feel like they're kind of at the forefront of it, of leading it. It started at the second half of last season. And I get worried about taking out one of those guys. I just think, Giannis and Dame, like those are great leaders. It's not like the culture's going to like fall on itself or anything. But I think the boost that Toumani Camara gives in like the carryover stability of him being here and helping build this is important.
Okay, that's totally fair. It's so interesting to think about this again next year with another year of development from some of these guys. Okay, so and you said that Donovan Klingon maybe on the table. In my view, when you start giving up like both Sharp and Klingon, it starts to be like, well then, do we have a complete team? Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. Like, you could probably give up one of Toumani or Sharp. Obviously, Milwaukee's going to want Deni Avdija. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for Portland to do this trade if you don't keep Deni Avdija, frankly.
Yeah.
Although I would say, like, gosh, we're really just this is all draft thinking, Connor. If you gave up Deni Avdija and it meant keeping all of the other young players somehow, and you got off of Jeremy Grant and you somehow but like Drew Holiday was involved in the trade and draft picks, then that's interesting. Because Donovan Clingan's good. Like Donovan Clingan is good. He's really, really young. Mm-hmm. He's tracking to be at minimum a solid starting center, and maybe more than that. Which is you need that. That's an important part of a good team. So yeah, it's very interesting. Can I just slide in a quick, not non sequitur, but a quick kind of. I'm just looking at Basketball Reference. Connor, did you know that Giannis has by far the highest effective field goal percentage of his entire career? And I think it's interesting. Right now, right this very moment, 66% effective field goal percentage. That translates just kind of 64.5% from the field raw. What I do think when we think about Giannis, yes, he's aging. Yes, he's a couple of injury things. The dude plays like 70 games a season, and also like it's possible, Connor, that he's like a little bit better than he's let on this year. I mean, the Bucks are not well constructed. They're just not, and they have a bad coach. Okay, Doc Rivers is a bad coach. In the year 2026, he's a bad coach, and so like and maybe in the year every other year before that, and like especially now, and so
NBA champion Doc Rivers, please.
I don't think it's totally unreasonable that Giannis could play better than he has this year with a different team, different environment, different motivation, different coach, different all those things. Like
different
I don't think
juice.
That's
yeah.
And so
we're basically I think you and me are both of the mind of if you have a potential to get an MVP player, you have to think about it, and you just do it.
No. I think you have to do it. And like, well, what about their future? Like, you wish that you could ever get a player as good as Giannis ever. And he's 31, 32, but he is still in his prime. And again, like I just said, he's having I think a sneaky kind of under the radar good season. And I haven't watched him play a ton, and so this is a lot of box score ogling, but I think the Blazers have to do it. And if it doesn't work out, then you had Giannis on your team. Now the one twist, you would have to get him to agree to an extension, and I'm not sure I don't think he's gonna do that. And so that's why
could be the non-starter. Like
ultimately, Connor, where I think this is heading is that the Blazers are a facilitator in a trade that involves releasing some of Milwaukee's future obligations. But the Blazers are going to say, we're very comfortable with our team. We're very comfortable with our team's development. We're not particularly interested in mortgaging our future to facilitate a trade.
Yes. Don't do the Mikal Bridges thing. Those Bucks picks are so valuable. They're about to be so much more valuable because they're trading Giannis.
Joe Cronin, this is the thing about the conversation around this, and like I've heard like Jane and McDaniel, and like, he's good. I'm not saying he's not good, but like, and I'm not saying don't do that based on what the machinations of the picks and all that stuff were. And maybe there's like we swap a different one in order for you to who knows what. But like the conversation nationally, as always, Connor, it's as if they have not paid attention to Joe Cronin, the negotiator. It is as if they have totally memory wiped that Joe Cronin, much to the chagrin of Damian Lillard and his representation
in the Miami Heat and Barry Jackson, he went toe to toe with Pat Riley, came out alive, tell the tale.
He won, and now the Heat are one of the one of the teams who are interested in Giannis, and they should be. That's fine, but like it's almost as if we've forgotten about Joey Cronin. Like he's not.
He's a patient man.
He's a patient man. History suggests, and even though history does not a future guarantee, history suggests that Joe Cronin will be patient. History suggests that if the Blazers will release some of those Milwaukee future draft obligations to facilitate a Giannis trade, that the Blazers will only do so if it benefits them, which I think is the correct approach. Connor, the trade deadline is coming up in less than a week. If you had to be right, I think if you were
February 5th, yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I looked to you for confirmation and you didn't even give me a nod. How dare you?
Yeah, I got there.
It's my fault for not just knowing it. if you were a betting man, where would you be stacking your circus hotel casino chips? Where's Giannis going, or is he staying put during this trade deadline?
Okay. Well, I don't think the Blazers are going to get Giannis. That's my first.
Damn it.
That's my first. Okay. Watch it, And
I think it's because of the extension thing. If he were signed long term, I would actually be like, well, maybe. But I did the fact that you need to re-sign. I don't see it.
I think the Blazers are going to be in a facilitator role. I'm hedging, but
they almost have to.
They almost have to. It's either
the Bucks this deadline in doing it.
Yeah, it's either this deadline or the summer. I think the Blazers are going to be involved.
Let's start with this deadline. Is Giannis moving?
Yes. You know what? Hell yeah.
I think so
yes.
too. Yeah, I think it's yes.
Let's make it happen.
Where's he going?
Ooh.
Knicks. So what I've heard,
Miami.
I don't know. Miami. What do the Blazers get in that? Do they get the Dame package? They
get Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, and Jovic. It's actually, we're all very excited about this.
Do we get Barry Jackson too?
Barry Jackson will be my colleague in press row.
It would be okay. That would be very funny. It would be. It would be funny. That would be a very hilarious outcome. I'm gonna say Timberwolves, and I do think that like Giannis and Ant Edwards right off the bat is interesting.
I'd love that. I already like the Timberwolves.
The Jaden McDaniels thing is growing on me. I think the Blazers have to be mindful, and again, they're not stupid. Like I don't think that they're releasing. Again, my understanding is do they have 2 swaps in a Milwaukee pick, or is it 2 picks in a swap?
I think it's 2 swaps.
And then there's a whole thing about like the Chicago pick needs to convey at some point, which
frickin' Chicago pick.
I'm ignoring that because the Blazers are going to make the playoffs in the next year or two, and so I just think it'll be a non-issue at that point. But the Blazers are not dumb, and they're not going to give up those 3 combination of picks and swaps of Milwaukee's that are going to be insanely valuable unless they get insane value back. And I think the Blazers, and they credibly can say, we don't need to do anything. We're not in a hurry. We've got young players. We've got good future drafts.
We've got a star.
We're pretty good right now. Like we're fine. Like
Deni popping off has really helped them. Like it's covered.
Totally.
It's covered for. I think Shaden and Scoot are fine players, and like Shaden's good. But it's covered for them not hitting a all-star in the lottery over these last three swings.
Well, because they hit an all-star in
a trade
in exchange for some lottery stuff. So it's like essentially hitting. And by the way, to your point, like Shaden Sharp, hasn't had the best season on the planet, but it's
he's solid.
It's pretty good. Like pretty darn good.
People want me to praise him. There's a few comments on the Blazers Edge that are like, if I don't put Sharp in the headline, it's like I'm not acknowledging that he was really good. And then I'm like, I have like 3 paragraphs talking about how good Shaden Sharp was. That's beside the point. But he's good, and I could also see somebody thinking he still has a ceiling of like a star if he puts it all together every night.
And the last 13 games is some quick box score ogling. In the last 13 games, 23 points a game, shooting 40% from deep and nearly 50% from the field. Good little stretch. And then Scoot Henderson, who, by the way, we're not breaking any news to say that he is actually close to a return finally. Thank God. Is that? Am I characterizing that correctly?
That is, he's got cleared for contact, which I started to wonder if it was like we were going to get an update that he was not coming back, or like it would be like late March. Anyway, so that's great news.
That's good news, and we'll see. Scoot Henderson has a lot to demonstrate, and so we'll see if he demonstrates it or not. Anything else on free agency? I mean, that was like the big thing. It's worth talking about.
I think, and this will segue us, the Blazers, another bit of news that was a bummer is Duop Reith has a stress fracture in his foot and is going to miss the remainder of the season. So the Blazers already were in a dilemma of Caleb Love and Sidi Sissoko, where our two-way players only have 50 available games. They were kind of running up to it. It was going to expire in February for both of them.
Yep.
So the Blazers have to decide to convert them to standard contracts or send them to the G League for the rest of the season. Duop Reith, I would imagine, is like kind of now the candidate to get waived. His contract expires in the summer, which is a bummer. this segment isn't about Dwight Breathe, but I loved watching Dwight Breathe. Just super nice guy. Amazing story. But the point is, in the segue, is the Blazers need to find room for Sidy Cissoko or Caleb Love, and I wrote a piece about Sidy Cissoko that we wanted to talk about.
You did? Yeah, and I did want to talk about it. Like, Connor, it's really cool, and we're very lucky to have you at Blazers Edge as, you know, the first on-site reporter since the days of Ben Golliver, and you are someone who is now in your second year covering the team in person, and my understanding is that this is your first individual profile of a Blazers player.
It is, yeah.
Super, super cool. I wanted you to tell us a little bit. I'm curious, what is it from your perspective? How do you begin the process of writing a story like this? And what I mean is not the writing portion, but I would like to speak with one of the players. I want to chat with Sidy. Like, what does it look like, that dance between you as the reporter and the team and the player, to set that up? Just enlighten us non-reporters. Like, how does one go about making that request? I'm assuming that you're not just like pinging him on Twitter, be like, yo, Sidy, can I talk to you? Like, clearly there's like processes and protocols. Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah. Well, okay. I first of all have to give a shout out to Rose Harding from We Have a Take, because she messaged me and was like, I think they did an episode of their pod that was they do these great deep dives into players, where they go into all the research, their backgrounds, their families, and they were trying to do one for Sidy Cissoko, and Rose texted me and was like, we can't find a lot on him. There hasn't been like a definitive story about him. It would be awesome if you tried to do that. And I had been, so the last year and a half of me getting access, it's a busy job to be like kind of like a beat writer of every game and practices. There's so much day-to-day stuff that I'm trying to write about, that I hadn't really carved out the space or time to do like more of a long-term feature in the middle of that. And I'd been wanting to, and it's kind of easy to just keep, I mean, you're already doing stuff, so it's like, well, you got
stuff to do. Yeah, it's kind of the day-to-day, how do you do a more medium long-term planning thing to,
And I'd always wanted to do that. I mean, that's kind of what I enjoy most about doing journalism, and what I like doing in school. And before I got the pass, I did some features on like Hand Fruit Nation, and Back to the Basket on Hawthorne. So Rose messaging me it was kind of like a sign of like, okay, this is like, you got to like push a little bit. And I had already been taken by Sidy's story, and his personality, just not only on the court, and I talk about this in the piece, but he is one of the most like talkative guys in the locker room, and even to like the press. So I'd kind of got to chat with him a little bit. He's like, there's this one time, him and Drew Holiday both had like similar hairdos. I think they both had like cornrows or something. He had the same hair, and they started pretending to be each other and answer questions like each other. So like funny. He would just do like stuff like that, and I was like, and when I would talk to him after games about his perspective, I thought he gave very interesting answers, especially when they were kind of going through their rough patch. And so this is all to say, I was interested in his personality, and then on the court, there was like 2 or 3 games in a row in December where he was just like flexing, and there was that game against Detroit where he got a charge on Cade Cunningham that fouled him out. And that was the night where I was like, okay, I need to do this on him. And I reached out to the Blazers, and they were like, yeah, we can make this happen. Kind of waited for the holidays to end. But the kind of premise was I got a 15-minute like sit down in the locker room before one of the games in early January, and just got to kind of have a more in-depth conversation with him about him growing up, his basketball journey. So that was kind of what kicked it all off.
Wow. That's incredible. And I can definitely, like when you're talking about hey, I've got a lot to do and there's a lot happening, and how do I fit something like this in? Like, I can completely understand that.
And I got another job, Gotta write medical summaries.
And I was just
anyway.
Wow. And I was just talking to someone actually. So we're gonna do a shout out segment at the end of the podcast about, yeah, you have a job and you're doing stuff, and you know what? We need time to rest too. Like, that's an important quality. All right, so you're going to be writing this profile. I read it. I also want to talk to you a little bit about your process of actually writing and editing it. And did you have any help editing it? Leaving that for a second.
Yeah, you were number 2 on the shout-outs.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Well, whatever. You also got a chance to talk with some of his family members. And you talked, obviously, with some of City's teammates on the Blazers. And again, that's something that you're talking to players as part of your day-to-day work when you're there at the Moda Center. How was that, like, reaching out to folks who are close to a player who is a public figure, but now you're reaching out and chatting with people who are not public figures, but they're related to them, and their perspective is interesting and important. And, I'm riffing here, but, like, your job is, correct me if I'm wrong, you're mostly talking with people who are expected to speak on the record publicly, right? And here you are now, you're going to be talking to someone who that's not their daily expectation. So how was that part of it, talking to people who were close to him?
It was good because, like, I can say City's an interesting player because a lot of, like, his impact is intangible on the court. So, like, you just have, like, he's intense and he's emotional, and it's like you kind of have to find ways to portray that other than just telling. So talking to people about that was, like, a pretty more important than some of my other stories about, like, getting evidence for this. So I wanted to talk to people.
So it's not just a thing that you're saying.
Yeah, like, just
sports platitude.
Yeah, believe me, he's intense. So I wanted to talk to somebody from his childhood. I kind of was fortunate because his sister is, like, a public figure because she plays for University of Oklahoma women's basketball team. She's 6'4", by the way, 6'4" center.
Wow.
And so I went through their sports department. They set it up. She was fantastic to talk to, like, very similar to City in a lot of ways. Like, you can just kind of tell their family is very energized, like, very excited about, like, life in basketball and talking about it. So I talked with her for 20 minutes, which I feel kind of bad because she was so good, and I only ended up using one quote for space. But she just talked about how, like, it was worse when he was a kid, his, like, passion for basketball and, like, how much he was into it, which was one of my favorite quotes. And then I talked to Ryan Rupert, which their relationship goes back to when they're 16, playing in France on the junior national team, which is, like, a crazy coincidence that they've both ended up in Portland, and they're really good friends. Totally. That was my favorite quote probably from the whole story is they roomed together at a U18 championship in Turkey for 2 months, and Ryan was like, I was just trying to sleep, and he wouldn't stop talking. And, like, it was a very, like, I feel like that's, like, a really relatable. You can just picture that so well, and it kind of showed, like, how this emotion and, like, energy from City is, like, very genuine, and it doesn't stop on the court. I ended up just catching before games and after games. You can kind of just go up to players and ask if they're free to talk. And I did that with Rayon. I did that with Robert Williams. They both gave really good answers. That, again, like, helped show that I'm not just, like, saying things, that this is real.
I'm curious, like, when you're doing that work with the other players on the team, do you tell them, like, yo, like, do you have a second to talk? I'm doing this feature on City. Was curious if you want to talk. Like, you let them know that that's what you're...
I did, yeah. For Rayon and Rob, I did. There were a few times where, like, Drew Holiday and other players were talking about the two-way guys and Caleb Love, that were, like, I could kind of just naturally like folded in. I was like, oh, I'll ask that about that. But it was a lot of that. Yeah.
Did your relationship with City change at all after chatting with him about his life, kind of just beyond the immediacy of what's happening in Portland, or is it pretty much the same at this point?
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Also, I do wonder, because we did the interview in early January, or I think early January, and it didn't come out till 3 days ago. So like, part of me, maybe this was just me, but I felt kind of awkward because it was like, it hadn't come out yet. So I was curious. So I just wondered, like, if he was just wondering, like, what it was going to end up looking like after our conversation. Yeah.
And did he, I mean, it's only been a couple days. Has he, like, said thanks, liked it, or have you heard from him or anyone around him like, hey, that's cool, like, thanks?
Not yet, but I also, they've been on the road, so I haven't seen them.
Yeah,
since
that's
then.
fair. I just a couple more thoughts about this. Like, is your, shoot, you know what, Connor? The question flew out of my head.
All good.
Loving that for me.
We can use this. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I guess maybe just kind of the classic end of conversation question. Is there anything else about this process, either getting the story or writing it, that stuck out to you that makes you definitely want to do another one, or maybe like, I'm never doing that again? I'm just curious. How do you feel having checked this off your checklist?
I feel good. It was fun. Like, it was hard, but it was fun, and it's like a very, I like chances to get to be more creative and like do more creative writing, and it felt like the first time I'd done that in a while. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that you, Brandon, gave a key edit the night before where the lead was talking about this quote that City had where he says, if I can die on the court, I will die on the court. And which is like an awesome quote.
Great quote.
And that's the thing too, like, sometimes when you hear like stuff like that and like sports cliches, it kind of doesn't feel genuine, but like there's something about City and like how intense he is where like you believe him. And I mean, I don't think he's going to die on the court, but like knock on wood. But but like I was trying to like make it clear that it's not cliche like some of the stuff that he's doing. But you gave the edit to say I had like an intro and then the quote, and you were like, chop that off.
You were setting the scene. You were setting the scene for the quote, and then you had the quote. And I was like, yeah,
the quote right in the beginning is like, it smacks you in the face, and that I think was I really liked the piece a lot more with that edit. So that was kudos and thank you.
I'll take my royalties in whatever currency you want to give them to me in. But no, the thing about that's fun, and you said about the creative writing process, that if you are a person who has spent significant time writing and editing, which we both are, I worked for a newspaper and a magazine. I was, a professional writer for a while, before all this AI crap came out, Connor. And obviously you're a professional too. And I'm sure lots of people listening also have experience doing this. The process of putting together a feature like that, it's a weird jigsaw puzzle. Almost isn't quite the right analogy, because a jigsaw puzzle, it only goes together one way and you get one image. This is like a puzzle that can fit together lots of different ways and produce many different end results. Like the experience I have working for a financial literacy magazine and doing features I did a feature about a musician. I did a feature about a young motocross rider. And that it's like from the time you spend talking with them and their family and people around them and the research that you do, there are so many different ways it could come together. And like in a alternate universe, Connor, like the version of the story you published never existed, right? And it's a different story with a different focus and a different emphasis. And I just want to say, like, you are an artist and not just a professional. Like, I really, really respect how you put that together. And to me as the reader, like, it resonated, it clicked. You should be super proud of that piece, and I hope that you get that feedback from City and his camp. And I know that he's busy, and it's not like you're not doing this for pats on the back, but I just want folks to understand that process is like, it's very emotional. It can be very difficult. There's a lot of second guessing that happens during that process, right? Like I've now, unfortunately, I'm recognizing I've commandeered this, which is I wanted you to actually talk about some of this stuff.
No,
So
I feel like you're explaining things very well.
My experience, my opinion. I'm not you, but like, as I say that, does any of that resonate with you as the writer in this case?
Yes, because there's so much information, and you have to condense it into something that's readable and flows. And I don't know. People can be the judge if I did that in this case, but like, this could have been like 4,000 words, and
yes.
That's just like I said, there were so many good quotes from his sister. There's so much more information that he gave, and it's like it's sometimes difficult to cut things to make that happen. Right. So like what you're talking about, like the puzzle, like making it all fit. That is. It's harder to write something shorter. That's like a classic writing joke, or just like saying it's like I would have made it shorter, but I didn't have the time. Like that is features are like totally like that. And I hope people, if people are this deep into the pod, I hope they don't think this is like a like glazing session of my work.
Listen, first of all, never use that term again. Second of all, part of what we do on this podcast with our guests, right, is to pull back the curtain a little bit and talk about process, which I really enjoy. And guess what, Connor? It's our podcast, so we can do it.
That's true. I
don't think it's a glazing session. I think it's.
I had to make that comment.
I support it. I think it was pretty funny. It got me to chuckle. But no, I don't think so at all. I think this is just talking honestly, and it's dumb.
Good. And the main thing is like and this can kind of close it for this combo is like,
okay.
I really want these pieces to capture like the truth. Of who City is, and like when I did Hand Fruit Nation,
the essence
and like the energy of these things, and I was proud because when it was done, I felt like I captured what I was going for.
Is there anyone else? Yeah, I agree that you did do that. Is there anyone else on the horizon you want to? You don't need to spoil it if you're thinking about, but is there someone else that you want to?
Jason Quick just did a great one on Caleb Love, so like we kind of got that. I don't know, and I don't even know. I don't know yet.
That's fair. No, totally fair. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, the last thing I'll say about it is that I'm deeply disappointed that you didn't use my suggested headline of Rip City, but that's okay. Listen,
Rip City.
It's too cheesy. It's way too cheesy. And the colon. I was sort of just I was being a little bit silly, but
shout out the photographer too. Took that photo of City. It like totally changes the whole piece. It's him flexing and roaring. It's really awesome.
Again, we didn't even talk about this, but like the what you just said, like the visual representation of the story and wanting the visual representation of it to match as best it can how you're writing about it and what you're choosing to highlight and profile and capturing his essence. And yeah, you're right. Did do a good job of that.
Dang it! I can't find the.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
It was fun though. It was a fun headline.
And I appreciate and I'm honored you let me take a look at it before it was live. But great job with that. I really enjoyed it, and you should be super proud. Before we get out of here today, Connor, just wanted to do some shout outs and also we'll see. There's maybe one more thing I might pile in there, but shout outs. I want you really quick, Connor, to think about someone or someone's in your life in the last couple of weeks since we last recorded you want to shout out. I have so many, so I'll save some for the next time, but two in particular. One, want to shout out to my friend Grady. Grady, you're a beautiful human being. We had coffee today. I hadn't seen him since we got back from New Haven. He's a former colleague of mine and current friend. Just a delightful human being. We talked about me and him and what we're up to. We talked about fatherhood. He has a couple of older kids. Parker is 9 months old, and we were talking about that. But I also wanted to shout out Grady because he said, what are you guys recording? When are you guys recording again? And I'd be like, oh man, like I think we're going to record today. And so, Grady, if you're listening, and I hope you are, this is for you. Also wanted to give a shout out to Nathan, who is the owner of a store called How Convenient at 60th and Gleason. This is a super cool convenience store, little bodega. It has like wine and snacks, and also has books, new and used. It has jewelry. It has cards.
It's got everything.
It's got everything. And not only that, when you walk into this store, you get this really interesting and cool sense of, oh, I'm somewhere that I should be right now. And there aren't that many like bodegas or convenience stores where you walk in and you kind of want to hang out, which makes sense. Like Nathan has, and even today, I think from 12 to 3 had a local artist there, has pop-ups and does like music and poetry readings there. So if you're anywhere in the neighborhood of 60th and Gleason, check out How Convenient. And Nathan, I really appreciate you too. Thank you for talking to me. So those are my shout outs. Connor, do you have any shout outs for this week's episode?
Yeah. Shout out my Aunt Katie, man. She's
Aunt Katie.
Always sending me text messages when I finish articles and just like about the Blazers. And it always is nice every time I get one. There we go.
Oh, that's super cool. Shout out to you, Aunt Katie. Anything else before we adjourn today?
No, I think that was good. We
okay.
Yeah, we're about an hour in. I think it's clear that we had not been on the mic for a while because I feel like we both had a lot to say and a lot to talk about.
A real glaze session, eh, Connor? We talked about Giannis. We talked about the Blazers. We talked about City. We talked about the City. And if you want to reach out to us, you can always look at that. If you want to reach out to us, you can always do that. Check us out on Blue Sky, probably the easiest way to do it. That's Connor Bergen. Look at his name. I'm Brandon Mullen. Look at my name. You can also find We Like the Blazers on virtually any podcatcher, and you can find our work, including Connor's, at blazersedge.com. That's it. Until next time, appreciate you all, and go Blazers.